Welcome Arsenal fans to another video. We've got quite a lot to get through actually. We've got Zubimendi to Arsenal, here we go. We'll be discussing that. We've got rival fans upset saying, how did Arsenal manage to get the signature of Zubimendi? My club didn't, even though we tried to sign him and all of that. We've got Gyökeres news, a bid potentially being put in, and just various other updates. But before I begin, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe and the like as well, be greatly appreciated. But let us start here with Fabrizio Romano. I think we've all known this has been coming for quite a while, but it was quite exciting to see the notification. Arsenal agree a deal to sign Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. Here we go. Zubimendi has now verbally agreed to sign a long-term deal. So formal steps must follow soon, with Arsenal to trigger the 60 million release clause, and Zubimendi will become our first new signing. Getting him in probably in before, sort of pre-season is obviously massive for us. Yes, we want attackers, but Zubimendi with Jorginho leaving, it makes a lot of sense. And let me know straight away, what's your initial thoughts on Zubimendi coming in? Are you excited? I think he's a fantastic little player, but let's look at the rival fans' reaction.
Yep, my head's gone. My head is so gone. I just said literally 10 minutes ago that the thought of Zubimendi going to Arsenal will send my head into orbit. But I was just waiting before I lose it, because it was released by the Daily Mail and not a Fabrizio or a David Ornstein. Fabrizio has now confirmed it. Zubimendi is going to Arsenal. This is so embarrassing for Liverpool Football Club. How many times are we going to miss out on our top targets to rivals, man? It's getting ridiculous. It was all right when it was just Madrid. It was still painful with the way our board carries on with things, because they've got this obsession with specific targets. But Tchouaméni, Jude Bellingham, then it started with Premier League rivals, Lavia, Caicedo. Now we're losing out to Arsenal? Zubimendi? Oh my days.
And I do feel sorry for Liverpool, because it seems like a lot of players seem to choose other clubs over them. And I have a little thought about this. Is it due to location? Is it due to the project? I mean, the Liverpool project, all bias aside, looks pretty good. But why do players always choose to go to London, choose to go to Arsenal, choose to go to Chelsea? Do they just don't have that sort of a pull? Because someone like Zubimendi at Real Sociedad, you think last season, why wouldn't he want to go to Liverpool, So I understand his frustration, but, when it comes to getting top players, it does seem like Arsenal always will have the edge over Liverpool. And that's no disrespect to Liverpool. Even them winning the Premier League title, it doesn't change that. It just is how it is. Arsenal's culture is just more appealing to Premier League players. But let us get on to the next reaction. From a United fan, that was a Liverpool fan.
Martin Zubimendi, here we go to Arsenal. So Zubimendi, he rejected Real Madrid. He rejected Liverpool. He rejected trophies to join Arsenal. But Arsenal have no money to sign players. Arsenal, they don't have money to sign a striker. How many defensive midfielders, how many midfielders is Michael Arteta signing?
And the narrative that Arsenal haven't won trophies is very, very lazy. Yes, we're frustrated. Yes, we wanted to win the Champions League. Yes, we wanted to win the Premier League. But you've got to ask yourself, you're looking at the core of our team. Raya's 29? Saliba in there, 23. Gabriel, 27. Calafiori, 22. Luis Skelly, 18. Timber, 22, 23. It's ridiculous. Declan Rice, 25, 26. Martin Odegaard himself, 26. Saka, 23. Martinelli, 23. Havertz, 26. It's so young. This is frightening. If you're a young player, maybe in their prime, trying to enter their prime, and you want to have that step up, Arsenal makes sense. It makes so much sense. You're looking at all those players that are named, seeing how young they are. You can understand why people always bring up trophies, because it's the only way. Because as a core group of players, we are going to win stuff. I don't care if you're going to look at me and be like, Arteta needs to go. You can do that. That's your own opinion. I will respect you. But this is a young core. Let's have a bit of faith. And, like he said, Real Madrid checked 3 times with the Zubimendi agency. But the Spanish side were told he wants to join Arsenal. He would have been watching the Arsenal-Real Madrid game, and he would have got the faith that Arsenal have a team that can win. We can beat the big guys. We can sort of thrive in those Champions League fixtures. it is just fantastic to see that Arsenal now really competing with the big boys. And a lot of people have been like, okay, why Zubimendi? And I'll be honest, I've watched quite a bit of him. He is a sort of player who can receive deep, like a Jorginho, receive back to goal. He's a bit more agile than Jorginho. He's a lot better in small spaces than Jorginho. He can operate in the 6 and the 8, gives us that flexibility. And like this tweet almost says, you know, you can have Zubimendi in the 6 with Rice in the left 8 position. We all saw how well that Jorginho and Rice pivot worked. You'd get that with Zubimendi. You know, I think our best pivot, although we have a lot of respect for Thomas Partey, was the Jorginho and Rice one. It got us the most wins in a row. It got us, you know, ever so close to Manchester City, who are just an absolute machine that year. And maybe he unlocks Odegaard. Maybe he closes the door for Odegaard. There's so many different ways this could go. But we've got to be open to the solutions that Arteta's going to have. Because I feel like Zubimendi and Rice is so complementary. And it allows us to play in the sort of way we did play towards the end of last season. And, well, on to Viktor Gyökeres. A lot of talk about him. Andrea Berta absolutely loves him. Arsenal have submitted their first official offer for Gyökeres, apparently, of 75 million euros. That is absolutely incredible if this is true. I don't really believe it. And a lot of sources, credible ones, Hand of Ozils, come out to say it's not true. But we're on the right track. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Gyökeres in isolation, but he's a goal scorer. And obviously you can't legislate for somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net. You can't legislate against that. So I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to support him. It'll be interesting if we can get this deal done. And other clubs in the Premier League believe that Arsenal will win that race for Gyökeres. So I guess if you're not a fan of him, you've got to sort of now start warming up to him, because it seems as though this deal will probably occur for, you know, sort of us. But let me know your thoughts on Gyökeres, Zubimendi, all the players we sort of discussed in this video. And of course, a bit of contract news. There's been a lot of debate. Trossard, Martinelli, who's going to be the one to leave? It's almost sort of this feeling within the Arsenal community that one of Trossard, one of Martinelli is going to have to leave in terms of Arsenal allocating some funds. But Arsenal are apparently in talks with Trossard over a new deal that will run until he is 34. So until 2029. They believe in his fitness, his longevity. So that's quite interesting. Are we protecting an asset? There's a lot of interest from Saudi. It's interesting. But as always, let me know. Would you keep Martinelli or would you keep Trossard? For me, I would keep Martinelli and sell Trossard. But if you're thinking of a big sale that Arsenal need to get, like an Isak, 60 million for Martinelli and keeping Trossard, it may be tempting. And of course, there's also some stuff about Alexander Isak saying it's pretty much widely accepted within football that if Newcastle do not get Champions League football, Isak will leave. So if you haven't been rooting against Newcastle, guys, maybe now is your time if you really want Isak, because if Newcastle don't get into that top 5, it could get very, very juicy. But of course, sacrifices will have to be made in which players we don't go for if we go for Isak. But I mean, he would be absolutely incredible. My priority, everyone's priority, even ahead of a goal machine like Gyökeres. And of course, left winger targets. It was quite interesting to see, you know, Nico Williams, Rafael Leao, Jamie Gittins. I really like that selection of wingers, top quality wingers. And win now wingers, you know, with a bit of potential in there as well. I really do like that list. And it seems like Berta's properly getting to work after, you know, being knocked out of the Champions League. And it may be annoying, but that's exactly what we as Arsenal fans want to be seeing. And the final bit of stuff really is on Max Dowman. It seems as though he's going to get the sort of chance next season to kick on and shine. What a player he is. He's going to go on tour with us to Asia, which will be absolutely insane. And we get to see him with the first team. He's an absolute super talent. And I'm sure us Arsenal fans are going to be absolutely loving him. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. And on to next time. Peace.